So, in the Bible, it says that there's really three things that ultimately last: faith, hope, and love. And yet, in some ways, hope is kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the virtue trinity. There's a lot on faith and a lot on love, but what about hope? Martin Luther, the one from the 1500s, said that everything in the world that is done by hope. Think about that. It's really true. It's like if you're going to be creative, you believe in your creativity. If you're going to persevere in a marriage, if you're going to overcome depression or discouragement, it really takes having hope. And ultimately, hope is believing that there's going to be a better tomorrow. Heck, even believing there's going to be a better next minute from now. And so the whole idea of the habits of hope is, what can I do to develop hope as a skill? Not just have it because of my circumstances or have hope because it's my personality type, but really develop it. And so this vision came way back in 2007 of what would it look like to actually make hope something that I grew in. So I started writing this book in some ways really for myself. Out of my own depth of depression and discouragement and darkness, I needed a way forward to be able to process and grow and get to a place where I was optimistic, not in like a motivated type of way where you go to a motivation seminar, but as a way to really live into a better vision of life. This idea of the Adirondacks came from thinking back to when I was a kid. There was a guy that I knew who was really filled with hope who'd come to me and say, Jeff Caliguire, there's a future for you. There's a bigger purpose. I pray for you every day. And I thought, what would it be like to actually go and spend time with this guy and have a way to go, why do you think that? And how do you live that way? How do you actually have some way to be positive and optimistic in an authentic way? So there's statistics of real people. When you think of 30 million people on antidepressants or 250 million prescriptions for painkillers written each year, you go, what does it look like to not just accept this as the status quo, but actually think of a hope revolution, of a way to move forward and actually intentionally grow our hope. As I'd start to share this with people and share these habits that I was learning, they'd say to me, Jeff, why don't you publish this book? Why don't you get this out? And clearly I wasn't ready until now, when I feel like I want to share these concepts with other people who are also ready to go, I don't want to stay stuck. I don't want to stay where I am. I want to live into the bigger purpose of me. The idea of the habits of hope came from realizing that whatever we do, it takes place in time. It's like you make it a part of your life. And then when you do it over and over again, it starts to become you. And it's a spiritual quest. A lot of people think that depression or discouragement is just a physical thing. And yet I'm convinced that one of the biggest untreated areas is a spiritual quest. What would it look like to actually get away and enjoy a time where you process the bigger picture of your life? What I'd want for people to experience with this book is almost like see it as your own personal retreat, an experience to step back from what's got you busy and what's got you maybe challenged, and experience an Adirondack retreat. I think of the Adirondacks as one of the most beautiful places in the world, with the mountains and the trees turning in the fall. And I thought, what would it be like to go to the Adirondacks like in Columbus Day weekend and think about your life and do it with a mentor who'd actually draw out for you the bigger purpose, draw out for you why you're here, where you're going, and help you develop a way of life, a way of hope, a way to not stay stuck and live into the bigger purpose.